Thanks for staying with us. The Salvation Army of St. Lucie County is a fantastic organization, and they've done a lot of good for the people of our community for many years. We're going to check in with them today to find out what they're up to and some of the things that they're working on. And to talk to us about it today is Major Bruce Stefanik. Major Bruce Stefanik. Thank you for joining us. Good to have you here.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
And also Councilman Ron Bowen from District 4. Thanks for coming in, Councilman.
Thanks, Ed.
Great. We'll start with you, Councilman Bowen. You work with the Salvation Army, so you're familiar with what they do. Let's talk a little bit about why they are so important to our community.
Thank you, Ed. I think, as you well know, council members, once they're elected, are encouraged to get involved in a non-profit organization and try to move that organization forward and help the community, especially on community outreach. And I, as a councilman, adopted the Salvation Army, and I had the fortunate pleasure of being a member of the advisory board committee of the Salvation Army. So I believe in the Salvation Army. That's why I'm involved with them. They're worldwide. They have a history of started in 1865. And they do the most good in the community, and it's America's favorite charity, and they do a lot of outreach for the community, paying utility bills for people, providing food and shelter.
It's so important, and people get real comfortable because, as you said, they've been around a long time. People know that's somebody it's an organization they can rely on.
Yeah, they know of the Salvation Army, but we're here, and Major Bruce is here to tell the public what the Salvation Army of St. Lucie County is doing for the public, and all the good things, and how they can get involved and help us, especially towards the Christmas season. So I'll turn it over to Major Bruce.
All right.
Ed.
So, Major Bruce, all right, let's start off with, we know it's good for our community, but let's talk about the Salvation Army. For anybody who's not really sure, we've seen the people out there, we've seen the bell ringers, but what exactly is the Salvation Army?
Well, the Salvation Army is a community organization that is worldwide. Most people see the Salvation Army, they hear the bells at Christmas time, and then they think that the Army just disappears. But the Army's in the community around the clock, helping whenever we can help out. In fact, just a touch of history in the Salvation Army. When the Army was developed in 1865, William Booth, who is the founder of the Salvation Army, had his son come in one day and say, "Did you know that people were sleeping under the London Bridge?" And William Booth said to his son, "Well, yes, I do, but do something about it." And that's what the Army's been doing ever since, as it comes in around the world. We're in actually 126 countries.
Wow.
But we do services in 175 languages.
Wow.
So we don't worry about what your background is, what your problem is, how do you speak. We'll work around that because we are trying to do the most good. And even in this community, we're here doing, as he says, rent, utilities, and that area there. But it takes the community to help us, for us to help the community.
So fantastic. I remember, as just one example, during the hurricanes of 2004, 2005 that we went through here in this community, Salvation Army, your organization was out there providing food, blankets, all kinds of services to people that were very much appreciated. You were part of the recovery plan, making things get better. That's one of the kind of things that your organization does.
Yeah, we work with the disaster services, and it's not just doing big disasters. We're in contact with the EOC, and if there's fire someplace and they need to have a mobile kitchen, our mobile kitchen goes out and helps them. If people are flooded out, have a fire, we help them out with various things. Our thrift store, with the donations we get, we help people with fires. We replenish furniture, clothing, and we do those things. Not just give it away, but if they have a fire and they give, the fire reports and all that, we can help them free of charge to get back on their feet.
It sounds like you also kind of step in to kind of provide some of the assistance at the temporary, that moment when they're still in a state of shock, basically trying to figure out what to do. Now my house is burned, I got to figure out this, and you're kind of available right at that moment.
We're available at that moment. That's why we don't have to worry too much about, do we need to get permission to do this from our headquarters? That's something unique about the Army. I can help out where we need to help out, and then I tell my headquarters what we're doing. I don't have to wait to have them say, okay, you can do this. I report back to them and say, this is what we've done.
Kind of management,
which is a unique, yeah, it's a unique thing that the Army has.
That's quite a bit different. So one of the things you've got coming up as we go into the holiday season, now we've seen the bell ringers out there. Let's talk about that program. I know you're looking for people to volunteer for that.
We are. We need volunteers to man the kettle locations. They're all over the county. We have 24 different kettle locations in the county, so you can imagine trying to get everybody out there. And volunteers are very important. And you're going to hear that we do hire some people, which is a fact. But the people we hire, that may be the only money they have for Christmas, or that may be their rent for this month. We have a young gentleman in a wheelchair that's his money to do what he wants to do with. He's paralyzed, paraplegic, but yet he volunteers and to do kettles for us. And we're just tickled to death to have him helping out. With the volunteers versus the employees do make money. We do give them minimum wage, but the volunteers help us to use more of the money for the community. And 90% of all funds that are raised by the Salvation Army in St. Lucie County stays in St. Lucie County.
Stays local. That's important. People want to know if they're giving money to something they don't want it being spent on administrative costs far away.
That's correct.
So that's always something people look at.
And and that's why our goal with the Major, myself, and the advisory board and the whole Salvation Army of St. Lucie County is to have an all-volunteer kettle force this year, 100%. The Major's had the experience it before in other communities, and he wants to bring that. His leadership actually brings that expertise to the community. And again, I'm making an appeal right now to the business community or anybody who's been served by the Salvation Army in the past or has time to donate to get involved in the kettle drive. It's the main source of funds for the Salvation Army for the year. The Publixes are involved. There's Walmart involved, Winn-Dixie's, Walgreens, and just a number of great organizations in the community that want to give back to, and they've let the Salvation Army set up the kettle stations. All we need is volunteers, and the Salvation Army wants you to get involved this holiday season.
And you're a small business owner, so I would guess you're kind of tapped into a network of other businesses and people that you can talk
Correct.
to.
I'm trying to get a team together to help a whole day. The ringing's from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening. And we're just asking for a 2-hour shift, correct, Major?
Yeah,
a 2-hour shift?
For volunteers, 2-hour shifts. We do have one kettle that is manned right now as of this moment for the whole season totally by one family who is volunteering to stand that kettle for the whole season all the time that it's open. But that's only 1 out of 24, and we can use a whole lot more help.
Need a lot more help.
And we're kicking off on November 24th, correct, Major?
The actual first date is November 14th, which is Friday.
I haven't got my reading glasses on. They took them away
well,
from me.
because there's 2 dates, the Publix and the Winn-Dixie's, we start off on the 14th, and then the Walmarts and the Sam's, we start off on the 28th, which is after Thanksgiving.
And I guess those organizations to participate, they're helping the community as well by allowing that to be in front of their stores.
Correct.
Oh, very definitely, because without them allowing us to do that, we can't help the community like they do.
So maybe we can get Councilman Bowen out there in a Santa suit ringing a bell. And if so, let's get the TV 20 cameras out there for that one.
We'll do it. I don't know about the Santa suit outfit, but I'm going to try to get a whole team together. And hopefully city employees here or council members want to get involved. And it'd be nice to have a whole city team do one location for a day.
Sure, get some people.
And the goal is to get 100% volunteers and go from there.
That reminds me, we do have the Salvation Army Angel Tree Program at City Hall.
Correct. White angels, and there's a tree here, and you can take an angel and take it home and buy a special gift for a special child in need. And the city's been involved, the city employees have been involved for years. And again, it's another example of the city employees, their generosity in getting back to the community.
Yeah, everybody wants to see each one of those angels picked and something provided for every kid that's on there.
My wife likes to buy for little girls. We have 2 boys, so you can understand that.
Well, one of the things about the Angel Tree program is that every angel, whatever that person buys for that child, goes to that child. It doesn't, if a child gets 15 gifts from a donor and another child gets 5 or 6 gifts or 1 gift, the person, whatever you buy it for, that child gets all the gifts that you buy it for.
That's nice.
What the Salvation Army does do, and this is where part of the kettle money goes into, is we buy toys along with the Angel Tree, so that if one young man or young woman happens to get 1 toy, we could supplement 2 or 3 more gifts for that child, so that if Big Brother gets 15 items and little brother doesn't get 1, he might get 4 or 5.
Right, kind of balance it out a
Yeah,
little.
we balance it out
great.
a little bit.
That's just, I know that people who work with Salvation Army all do it because you really care about the community and you really want to help people out. Hate to see people get a bad situation and just doing what you can to make it better for them.
And we do that, and then I've been asked a few times, what do you do with the extra money from the kettles that aren't used just for Christmas. Well, whatever we have left over, we take that money, and then it's where in January, February, March, and April, we can get extra food from the food bank that if we don't have enough donated, and we can always take food donations. They can drop that off at our thrift store anytime. And we use that money to help the community throughout the year. It just doesn't disappear.
Like you said, you're out there all year long
That's
doing
right.
different things, not
That's
just
right.
the holidays.
That's right.
You mentioned the thrift store. Let's talk about that briefly. Where's the thrift store?
Well, the thrift store is on Highway 1, and it's at 3629 US Highway 1, and you can't miss it because it's a big white building with red trim, shields all the way around it. And we could take any donation that is usable. Unfortunately, we don't have the capability of repairing a lot of stuff. We do
Right.
repair some stuff, but one thing I like to stress with folks, we love your donation, but we can't take your trash. If it's something you wouldn't use, and I know that sounds a little blunt, but it's if it's something you
Well, it
can't
creates
use,
a burden. You have a
well, then we have to take it to the dump,
And it's a resource
and that
off
costs
of
us
you.
money. Yeah.
Sure.
So we ask people, please, if you're going to give something, make sure it's something that's usable.
That's a great point, because there are other organizations that do take things for repair that people find work
That's right.
and repairing, but that is not the Salvation Army.
But that's not the Salvation Army here. We
Important
have
point to make.
other agencies in other big cities that'll do that, but we don't do that here.
And the Army is funded mostly from donations?
It is funded, I would say, 90% by donations. We do get some money from FPL, and that is gifts that people give to the power company to be used through the Army to pay someone's electric bill. But other than that, we don't have a lot of money in the bank that's drawing interest. Of course, you know how much interest it's drawing in the bank today.
0.01%.
I think that's about what it is.
What it is now?
But it's a donation, and as those donations come in, those donations are used to assist the community.
Fantastic.
And they are tax deductible donations, I may add also. And I want to thank the community in the past for their support of the Salvation Army of St. Lucie County. And 2 years ago, I don't know if the Major knew this, we had a couple people donate vehicles to the Army. We were able to auction them off and get some substantial dollars to put back into the much-needed bank account. And if anybody's thinking of needing a tax write-off before the end of the year and thinking of getting rid of a vehicle, I think the Army would gladly accept some vehicles in good condition to auction off.
We sure
and,
would.
Again, and if we auction it off, the person's going to need a vehicle. Sometimes people are looking for a low-price vehicle, so we can get a person a tax deduction, maybe get a person that needs an automobile, an affordable automobile, and the Army can make a few dollars to help out the community. So if anybody's thinking about a tax donation before the end of the year, think about donating a vehicle to the Salvation Army.
Great idea, good way
Yeah.
to do it. And what you talk about, people volunteer, people are helping out the Salvation Army, which in turn helps back the community. Kind of a two-way street there, how that works.
That's what
That's
the Army's
correct.
about.
Right. Well,
And
very
it's
good.
not just volunteers at Christmas time, because we can use volunteers at the thrift store sorting, and because before anything's put out onto the showroom floor, as I would call it, we make sure that one, it works, two, it's in good condition, and three, that it's clean. You're not going to find dirty dishes out front with yesterday's soup on it.
Thank you.
You know, it's all ready to go, and there's some really nice things. You got to stop by and take a look. There's some beautiful china there right now. Now, will it be there when I get back? I have no idea, because that store changes every 2 minutes.
Well, I'll stop by soon. Hopefully our viewers will
Well,
as
good.
well. If somebody wants to know more, if they want to get a hold of you to volunteer, what should they do?
Well, they can call us at 772-464-4846 and just leave a message that they want to volunteer. Now, with depending upon where they're volunteering, what they're doing, some of the volunteers, we do background checks, because we do safety, especially when they're dealing with kids, and that's just the law of the land. We have
Right.
to do that. So I
Right.
didn't want anybody to be surprised. It's like, oh, they did a background check on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, but that's
Yeah.
that's the law of Florida.
Unfortunately, it's come to that nowadays.
And it's come to that nowadays, but yeah, but if there's all kinds of things that they could volunteer to do, and I don't think we've turned down very many volunteers.
Well, very good. Appreciate your time. Major Bruce Stefanik with the Salvation Army. Good to have you in here. Councilman Ron Bowen. Appreciate you bringing him in so we could find out about this great organization.
Thanks for having us on TV 20.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I want to thank the Major and his wife, Vicki, for coming to the Salvation Army of St. Lucie County and really bringing a breath of fresh air and a new spirit and a really go-get-them, can-do attitude. I thank the Major for that profusely.
And you've been working with the Salvation Army how long?
For 29 years.
Wow, fantastic. All right.
We've been here.
Good. Appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
All right. Good to have you. And we'll be back after this quick message, so stay with us.